Audio Jungle.
Good afternoon. Here is the national news from BGI TV Current. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, the handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. First are the major headlines. Buhari in Mecca to thank Allah for successful 8 years as president. Pantami. NECA warns Buhari regime against fresh tax hike. Inec Films says commissioner deployed to Adamawa stripped naked, brutalized. Fresh Southern Kaduna attack. Death toll rises to 33, over 40 houses burned. And on sports, Boso invites 39 players as camp opens today. Now the news in detail. President Muhammad Buhari during the week embarked on an official and spiritual journey to Saudi Arabia to thank Almighty Allah as he prepares to hand over the mantle of leadership to President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu on May 29th. The president departed Nigeria on Tuesday for Saudi Arabia on an official visit from April 4th to 19th. According to an earlier statement by its media aide Garba Shehu, the president's journey would be his last trip to Saudi Arabia as president. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Issa Pantami, and Mr. Shehu, who spoke to journalists on the significance of the president's trip, said Mr. Buhari was in Mecca to thank Allah for the successful 8 years in service of his country. The president, accompanied by his aides, first visited Medina, where he toured some historic religious places, including the International Fair and Museum of the Prophet's Biography and Islamic Civilization in the city as part of his engagement. While at the museum, Mr. Buhari maintained that the spread of true knowledge of religion of Islam is the most important task now facing global Muslims. He commended the Saudi government for deploying the latest technological tools in presenting the core of Islam, its lofty purposes and qualitative teachings. According to the president, the Muslim community needs a futuristic system, bringing knowledge and education into a new system that will make a good understanding of the very futures of the religion. Mr. Buhari observed the 5 daily and Taraweeh prayers at the Masjid Nabawi before departing for Mecca via Jeddah late on Wednesday night for the lesser pilgrimage. The president, alongside his aides, some traditional rulers and religious leaders, performed Umrah rituals amid tight security upon his arrival at the Grand Mosque in Mecca. To the next story. The Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, advises that any attempt by the federal government to increase taxes will negatively impact households, individuals, and businesses. Inec's Director General Adewale Smart Oyeride, in a statement on Sunday, said such a move would only lead to disaster for an economy struggling to stay afloat. For a private sector already overwhelmed by multiple taxes, the imposition of additional taxes on services would make the business community more vulnerable, with a trade-off on growth and job creation. More taxes, of course, will weaken the purchasing power of individuals and stifle consumption, with attendant consequences for social cohesion, Mr. Oyeride said. Mr. Oyeride was reacting to a recent recommendation by the International Monetary Fund, IMF, to the government to increase taxes to reduce borrowing. The IMF has already recently called on the government to reduce its debt by increasing the tax basket and compliance to generate revenue to cut borrowing. Moving on to the next story. The Independent National Electoral Commissioner, Inec, the Independent National Electoral Commission, Inec, has tasked security agencies to arrest and prosecute those who brutalized one of its national commissioners deployed to Adamawa State for Saturday's supplementary governorship poll. The Inec National Commissioner, Festus Okoye, disclosed this to newsmen in Brendan-Kebi on Sunday. He said, if you see what is trending, 2 national commissioners were deployed to Adamawa State. One of them was brutalized, one of them was stripped naked. That will not be allowed to stand. The security agencies must unmask those who engage in that particular act. They must be arrested, they must be investigated, and they must be prosecuted. A national commissioner cannot be treated as if he or she is a common criminal. A former vice-chancellor of Usman Danfodio University, a senior citizen, was stripped naked and dragged. The commission would not allow that to stand. Going on to the next story from Kaduna State. Death toll rises in Saturday night attack on Runje village in Kaduna South. State as rising to 33. This information confirmed by news by the chairman of Zango Kataf, local government council Francis Sani. He explained on Sunday that over 40 houses in the village were completely burnt down by the attackers, adding that 7 persons sustained various degrees of injuries and are presently in the hospital receiving treatment. The 33 victims of the attack were on Sunday given a mass burial amidst tears by members of the community. Dr. Samuel Achie, president at AAP Community Development Association, ACDA, also confirmed the number of the victims killed and those injured by the attackers. Information reported that the attackers invaded the community in the night while the residents were asleep. They divided themselves into 3 groups and started shooting sporadically, burning houses in the process. Going on to the last story, sports. Flying Eagles coach Ladan Boso has invited 39 players to the camp of Nigeria's under-20 boys ahead of the final preparations for this year's FIFA Under-20 World Cup finals taking place in Argentina. All the invited players who are all home-based have been told to report at the Cheetah Hotel, Abuja on Sunday yesterday as training sessions will commence on Monday, which is today, according to a statement made available to correspondents on Saturday. The Flying Eagles will finish 3rd at the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations in Egypt last month, as are one of the 4 teams that will fly Africa's flag at the finals, with the others being Senegal, the Gambia, and Tunisia. The players invited are goalkeepers Nathaniel Uwosu, Water FC, Chijioke and Niagoso, Giant Drillers, Seid Jimo, BE Arena Academy, John Otomblo, Mavlon FC. The defenders are Augustine Unjoku, Abia Warriors, Ezekiel Bala, Mohammed Abdusalam, Rising Stars, Solomon Agbalaka, Brùt City FC, Israel Domingo, Family Worship FC, Benjamin Frederick, Nasara United, Femi Abubakar, Madiba FC, Daniel Bameyi, Yom Yom FC, Wisdom Udo, Akwa Ibom United, Akinwale Akobi, Lion Ark FC. That ends the national news this hour from BGI TV Current. Before we go, some major headlines. Buhari in Mecca to thank Allah for successful 8 years as president, Pantami. NECA warns Buhari regime against fresh tax hike. Also, Inec Films says commissioner deployed to Adamawa stripped naked, brutalized. And lastly, on sport, Boso invites 39 players as camp opens today. For more updates of our broadcast on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. On Facebook, Bagide Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page for more updates. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on your screen. I am Morire Rabina Lawa. Good afternoon.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.